Good morning, good evening, good day, YouTube community, and welcome to today's Monster Hunter Challenge, Hunting What You See. This challenge seemed like a lot of fun, so let me break down where I got it and how I set it up for myself. The goal is to start from Rey Dau's nest and wind up all the way in the Grand Hub. I can use my Sacred to get there, but whatever monsters I see on the way, I must hunt. To start, let's break down the custom rules from this challenge. You can only have 2 monsters queued to fight at a time. Meaning, if you are fighting a monster and you visually see the other monster, that monster is now in queue after you complete the first hunt. This helps with time stipulations as some monsters can leave and it's harder to keep track of them. My map is off, which makes for one hell of a reason because I don't know where to go outside of the Scarlet Forest. I can only carry in 1 loadout, meaning I cannot refill for the entirety of the journey, but I can bring in whatever I want to start. Lastly, the only way to fail this quest is to A. Fail the quest time limit, or B. Faint too many times resulting in quest failure and a restart. With that being said, my weapon of choice was the Gold Mazios Ice Bow. I feel pretty comfortable on the bow and it gives me that dodge that may or may not save my life. Here's the build. It's not super min-max, but just enough to get the job done. So without further ado, I started my journey at Rey Dau's nest. Immediately, I knew I wasn't in for a good first fight, due to the season being an inclemency and lightning hitting everywhere. And as I exited Rey Dau's nest, my first battle begun, with none other than Rey Dau himself. As soon as I saw the quest begin symbol, my strategy was simple: avoid damage and utilize Mint T's utility as much as possible. Everything was going according to plan, and then I realized what this challenge was really designed for. It was at this moment I realized just how long this journey could possibly take. With an endless amount of monsters roaming, the potentials were endless, because I now had the next monster queued for the journey moments into my Rey Dau fight. With Tempered Rey Dau slain in under 8 minutes, things felt good. I managed to get back only with utility heals from Mint T, and that Balahara was next on my list to go. For the first time in the journey, my health was lower than usual, but I stuck to the plan, only healing and using items when absolutely necessary. Before long, I had whittled Valhalla down, and I completed the quest without spotting any other monsters, and things were looking up until they weren't. Internally, I knew this was going to be a good fight, because I knew if there was one monster that could one-shot me, regardless of armor or even if I dodged correctly with the bow, Arkvale could do it. I have hunted Arkvale over 100 times with the bow, so much so that I've done a sub-5 speed run against him. So I knew that at any moment, Dragon Blight was coming, and his chain-link arms would cause some damage, regardless if I dodged correctly, ultimately leaving me to use my first set of heals. This was something I knew about having encountered Arkvale numerous times with the bow. Arkvale's the flagship. I don't know if this damage was intended or a glitch, but I give Arkvale this respect regardless. This is where the nerd side of my Monster Hunter IQ kicked in. I knew that this was an 8-star tempered Arkvale based on how it staggered so early into the fight, which was good for me, because this was the Arkvale I fought the most.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No! No!
And with that, I was now queued for my 4th fight in the Windward Plains. For the first time this entire quest, I had to use a max potion. In managing to kill Arkvale in under 10 minutes, I managed to escape that fight, only using a singular max potion and 2 null berries. Raytheon was next. For the most part, the Raytheon fight wasn't too bad. I managed to keep him pinned because he had a wounded wing thanks to Arkvale. It wasn't until he decided to move to one last area that really ticked me off. Lo and behold, the Raytheon decides to run away and find me a flame chicken to fight. And with that, My 5th fight of the Windward Plains was cued. After slaying the Raytheon, I immediately noticed the flame chicken was close to the Scarlet Forest entrance and wanted it to remain somewhere close, so I got busy. After 5 hunts, I was already tired of seeing this area, so I swiftly and promptly moved towards the Scarlet Forest. As I entered the Scarlet Forest, I knew having no map would be the challenge in itself, so I proceeded to gather as many materials as I could from the environment. Here's the brief synopsis of the Scarlet Forest. I explored, and explored, and explored some more. This might have been one of the longest times I've spent in the forest just looking for the exit, but it was also my luckiest run of this journey, because I saw no monsters through my exploration and eventually found the oil well basin entrance. Part of me felt like I cheated the challenge here, but I remembered the goal was not actively seeking monsters to hunt, simply to get from point A to point B. But in due time, the Monster Hunter gods would make me pay back in full for their blessings. Tempered New Udra, quite possibly one of the worst monsters to see on a run like this. I had the advantage with the ice bow, but being my least fought apex predator, this fight took everything out of me, quite literally. For the first time in this challenge, I had fainted, and that gave me a newfound respect for New Udra. It reminded me of the severity of fainting out of this quest and having to restart all over again at Rey Dau's nest. So I knew at this moment I had to lock in. New Udra was forcing me to use items. I could no longer rely on Mint Tea to provide sustained heals throughout the fight due to the damage I was accumulating. At this point, I was down another max potion and 2 megas. I knew that if this fight lasted too long, I would be paying for it in the long run. I had technically fainted 3 times to New Udra this quest, but with insurance and my Palico, I still had 2 faints left, but that meant nothing with what I saw next. "10 minutes left in the quest, which let me know this was a 25-minute quest and I had wasted a lot of my time by dying. The pressure was mounting and the doubts were setting in about my completion of this challenge. Time was ticking down, and the pressure to complete the quest relied heavily on my ability to not faint again. I had to stay focused to endure this quest. Every time I got hit, I could hear the internal clock. Tick, 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 tick. Counting down, knowing at any moment my restart was right around the corner. Oh my god! Holy shit! Oh my goodness! Oh my god! Oh my god! Fuck that guy! Oh my god! Oh, he had such a short quest time. Oh shit! Having defeated New Udra, I was down all of my max potions and reserves, and down 4 mega potions total. I still had my potions to craft up to mega if needed, but we were only in the 3rd area, and I could feel the pressure weighing. Having seen no other monsters on the way to the exit, I let out a huge sigh of relief, because I knew if I was going to get through this challenge, I needed to conserve as many resources as possible. But it wasn't before long that I realized that this challenge was meant to break me. It was at this moment that I realized that the challenge was back on and that I needed to kill Blungaga next. Another Archiveld slain this quest, and now I had to go on and fight Blungaga. Luckily, it was a frenzied one. It didn't take me long to dismantle Frenzied Blungaga, and with that, I was on my move to find the exit. Being scared off by a little bug led me to discovering the exit. Coming back now and voicing this over, that might have been the luckiest bug, the most beautiful bug that I've ever seen in the world. As I entered the ruins of Wyveria, I felt a sigh of relief. I knew that I was almost there. I had to remain focused because I also did not know where the exit was here either. Fighting the Doshagama went as expected. Took a couple lumps, but ultimately, I wound up spotting my next monster mid-fight. By the grace of all things Monster Hunter, it was only a base art veil, which meant I could complete this quest and continue my journey to the exit as soon as possible. Or so I thought. With Guardian Ebony Atagarin in queue, it was time to say goodbye to Archvale. Three Archvales in multiple locations reminded me of Basil Geese from Monster Hunter World. There was still a monster in queue waiting for me, and I had to get it done to prevail. I was slowly but surely inching down to the reserves of my health items. I had my small potions for mega potion crafting, but I only wanted to use those as last resort. So I knew I had to play cautious. Listen to me and listen to me well. There is one monster that is a guaranteed failure, and it is Tempered Gore Magala. My heart skipped a beat. The one monster I feared the most had let me know they were lurking somewhere. I still hasn't visually identified the monster, but I felt its spiritual pressure from across the map. As I was wrapping up my quest with Ebony Ottagarin, Fart McGee himself made his presence known. As my Congalala fight was coming to a close, the Monster Hunter gods proceeded to bless me with another monster to fight. I was sick of it at this point, but I knew it had to get done. As my quest with Lala expired, I simply had one thing in mind: find the exit, and fast. I knew it wasn't on the lower tiers. I just simply tried to find every little crevice, every little nook and cranny, and eventually, I made it. I made it out of the wilds. We had finally made it through multiple maps. We had finally slain every monster that we saw on the way through, and I was proud of myself from seeing this journey through. At the end of this journey, we had dipped into our reserved mega potions, had no more max potions, and a couple of null berries left. So I would say a job well done. As I looked back, I reminisced over all the hunts and still hated that Gore Magala. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to like this video as it helps the algorithm. If you enjoyed the content a lot, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments down below what difficulty and what modifiers you would want to see in a part 2 because I'm excited to do this challenge again, and I'm going to do it with one of my least favorite weapons, the bow gun. Let me know how you feel about that down below. Much love, much praise, and I'll see you in the next one. It's your boy McLavishh signing off. Peace.